Oh, hi there. Welcome back to the place where I make things you play with. Oh, yeah, welcome to Red Tech Games. Um, yeah, the last time I think you met me, I think I had a different setup. Yeah, now this is a new setup. Hope you like it. Yeah, before it was in kind of like a study area. Now it's my bedroom. Anyway, it's been a while since I've done one of these tutorial vids, and I thought that I should like do something of that sort, just to show you how I make my games basically. So what have I been up to? I've been up to a lot of work projects, a lot of individual projects, and also some game jams, some hackathons winning here and there. I don't know, but you'll see a photo of them. Anyway, I'm sure some of you guys have interacted with my Instagram. So yeah, this video is to just show you how I made one of my games for the Leaky Bucket game jam, which is Operation Neptune Spear. I won't show everything from scratch because that would be like a 40 hours plus video. But yeah, oh yeah, I got new things, new PC, new keyboard, new mouse that shines, new camera that can track my face. Anyway, it's stolen from my dad, but yeah, it works quite well. It like tracks my face and all, you know. But yeah, um, so here is the game basically. I don't know if you can see the screen, but I am pretty sure that you can see the screen. Who basically went to kill Osama bin Laden. So basically, it's the story of how the Navy SEALs went and did this job. And the theme was for the game jam was falling. So they are falling in many ways. So falling in the metaphorical aspect of Bin Laden's downfall. Then also during the mission, one of the helicopters crashed, so there's that downfall. And then there is also the fall when you kill your enemies. So that's how I interpreted the theme. So this is what the menu basically looks like. It's just a very standard menu with credits and all that. You've got your settings. You can customize all this. Or let me maximize. Yeah, this is what the game looks like. There's just a background of all that. A lot of people actually assume that I just start with a menu, but really in reality I actually started with the first level. Well, it's not really a first level, but it's like the part where you're in the helicopter and you're going to the mission that kills Osama. So I think I can show you how I did everything. So first off, there's this black screen that fades into this. When you actually play it, it just fades out the black screen. There's not too much special here, but please bear in mind that I had 2 weeks to make this game, and this game was made virtually. So I had to use a different laptop. I had to use another laptop that I had when I was far away and connect to this PC as the server so that now it can work. So this is what it basically looks like. The start of the game. You just start when you're in the helicopter basically. So the perspective is first person, so you're seeing through the eyes of the player, because you can see these are the hands. It's like the way you look in real life. You can only see your hands. There's a soldier there you're going with. There's the sky, there's the chopper. And basically that's how it is. So how did I begin this scene? So one of the locations was Afghanistan, and I decided to make Afghanistan, it's more desert-like. Those Gulf countries, they're very desert-like. So this is how. So the desert was designed by basically the Unity terrain system. I really like it. You can do a lot with it. For example, you can add terrain here, terrain there. You can basically do a lot with it. You can raise or lower the terrain. So like for example, when I select the terrain itself and I just choose here raise or lower terrain, I can kind of like raise or lower whichever terrain I want. Yeah, you can see it's raising depending on how I want it. But yeah, that's the basic idea how I created the terrain. It's very random, so I didn't really focus too much on like the full accuracy of how the desert in Afghanistan looks like, because I didn't have enough time, but I tried to make it look as close to reality as possible. Then we have the chopper. This chopper, it came in parts, so I had to like assemble it like this. You can see this part. If I disable it, then you can see each and every individual part is on its own. Like this part, you can take that out. Yeah, so that's how I designed basically the chopper, just thinking of what part goes where. It's not something I fully designed. I just got it from the web and did that. Then inside here you've got the soldier, who's like your ally. He was also not fully designed. I just designed a bit of parts like the bag and the rifle. Yeah, I actually quite like how I designed this rifle because it looks like a camo finish kind of. Yeah, I just the texture is just from Photoshop really. So like if I go to the texture, this one, yeah, I see this is just how this texture is designed in Photoshop basically. And you see when I click on it, it opens Photoshop. I prefer using Photoshop to other things like Corel Draw and all that, because it just integrates well with Unity basically. So then I had to make code, of course. Without code, then this is just meaningless. So I'm just gonna open part of the code and just show you how well basically everything works. So the code it's not very complicated as most people would think. It's just about knowing the logic of if you do this, then this happens, then this happens, then yeah, basically. So yeah, I'm just waiting for this to load. The funny thing is I still have 32 GB of RAM, so it's a bit it's quite crazy that even with 32 GB it takes a bit of time, but yeah. So yeah, here's the camo. Here's how it looks like in Photoshop. That's it. And then here's the code. Let's explain a little bit. No, that's not the right code. Oh, it's this one. I opened the wrong one. So this one is just the mechanics of how the helicopter moves. So basically it also follows the sequence. So if you go back to the actual game, the actual events, the helicopter crashes. So all this here, this one is just to make the helicopter fly. Then this one here is the one that triggers the crash, and once the crash is triggered, it basically loads the next scene. That's how the next scene is, like the next level in short. So like if we play this over again, we just enable everything and you just see how it flows. That's how it basically flows. Another thing is that a lot of people usually think that, there's this like badass programmer who he doesn't think, he just does, but that's not the case. It's not how it generally works. we've had like failures and failures and failures of like things. Yeah, so this is how the actual scene looks like. Now what happens basically here is also where I interpreted the theme of falling as well. The helicopter basically falls from the ground. I think there was like a typhoon that basically in the real sequence of events, like basically made the helicopter like lose control and just go down. So that's what I simulated. I also just put some music. Yeah, here we go. Then boom, you crash. Then it just loads the next scene, which I am going to explain just right now. So once it loads the next scene, now that's where the actual game starts. You land in an area where you're not very sure whether it's Bin Laden's compound, and you're supposed to find a person who could lead you to eventually Bin Laden shot. Yeah, so here's the actual scene. But then I will have to go to that exact scene and explain basically everything so that most people get it. I don't know how many people are understanding, but yeah, I'm just trying my best to try and make everything as simple as possible. Yeah. So let me just open. Where did I put it? Oh, sometimes I'm usually very disorganized, so yeah, but this is the actual scene. So here's the scene. The whole environment, it looks like this. I tried to make it look like a Middle Eastern environment where you can like, we just turn this on so that you can see the beauty of the game. This is what the game actually looks like with all the effects and all the basically the beautifiers and plugins. And when I turn it off, yeah, you can see the difference. So there are two tabs normally here. You've got the scene where you can design everything, and then you've got the game view where it shows you what the game looks like after designing everything. So let me just go to where everything starts. So basically this is the enemies that you kind of like encounter. They look like this. They kind of have a Middle Eastern look, kind of like what you would experience in these areas. They have a AK-47, which I believe that is like the most used gun in this area, and they kind of have like balaclavas to hide their identity. Yeah, every single detail was thought to the maximum. Then you have these arrows to basically like guide you and direct you. Now I think we can go to the player himself and I can just show you how I basically made everything. So here is the actual player. Now it's first person, that's why I didn't bother like designing all the features, all the legs, because you're only going to see the hands anyways. So in the first person you have like this gun and the kind of like stylish thing I designed. Now this is not accurate, I just wanted to make the game look more fun, and yeah, basically that's how I did it. And then you've got like a silencer, because obviously they're infiltrating a compound, so that's the idea. And I also saw in the real life videos they like had silencers, so I tried to make it look like a body camera is attached to you and you are basically like moving around and seeing through the eyes of Robert. So like when I open the scene here, it like basically just loads the game, and then there's like a dialogue system over here. So then you can see things about the mission. This is just text basically. and there is WASD to move around. This is just a tutorial. You can tilt left and right basically to see around corners, and yeah, you can aim down on the sight. So this is your ally basically. He just basically follows you around. I just coded him to follow you around, as you can see. Oh, I'm being shot. Yeah, so whenever an enemy kind of like shoots you, the the basic idea is to try and look for a first aid kit. Like it's kind of like a pickup. Oh, I died. See, I also suck at weird games. Then when you die, it shows you like a random message from people who went through the mission that talked about it. When you die, it just restarts the mission basically. Yeah, so let's say we play through the mission, just complete the tutorial. You can shoot him, he dies, and then you can also shoot him and he dies as well. And when you pick up the first aid kit, it automatically heals you. I don't know if you can see below here, there's a health bar that fills up. It's normally like 100, then 0 when you die. That's just how I designed it. So this is how like the game actually plays, and that's how I basically designed the second level. It just has 3 levels. It's not a very long game. Please bear in mind I had 2 weeks to make all this. So yeah, the Middle Eastern environment is just a combination of assets I got from the internet, like this one, just a poster in Arabic, and you've got the fans, and yeah, just buildings. The buildings are not accurate because I wasn't fully there in Afghanistan, but I tried to make it as accurate as possible. Then the last mission is now where you get to Bin Laden's mansion. Let me just open it. So once you get the guy who gives you intel on where Bin Laden is, you now start going to hunt for him. So now here it is, and now the objective, as you can see, has changed. So it plays through the same way it plays through their previous mission. Same character. A lot about this game is I've reused a lot of elements, so a lot of recycling is going on. Now if you go to also the code, this is what handles all the movement. As you can see, still have an error to this day, but I just ignore it, coding. So basically this is just, let me just explain the code in short terms. This is what is the variables that let you move. Then this is the physics that handles the movement. Yeah, so yeah, in games you have to know physics. Then there's a health system as well for managing your health and checking if you're dead or not. And then there's the last system which handles all the shooting mechanics. So all this is what handles how you shoot enemies and how the gun mechanics and the gun physics works. So yeah, basically. Oh, and the last part is, this is the camera that I was telling you about, the one that you see through the eyes of the player. So as you can see, there is like a first person like camera component right there, and this is what makes the body cam effect. I don't know if you can see, like it looks like you're seeing through lens. Like if I turn it off, you see how plain it looks, then I turn it backward. Yeah, that's how I made the body cam effect, because I wanted to make it more realistic to what I wanted you to feel how these guys were feeling. So that stealth, that tension, kind of, that's how I got to decide. I will also be leaving a link below, and there's a bit of music to just make the game a bit, then there are like various animations like reloading. So you go through the bedrooms, find like enemies. Yeah, and they can also shoot back at you, so you should always be careful. So that's what they look like when they're dead. Yeah. So basically, I wouldn't want to finish the mission so that don't spoil for anyone who hasn't done the game. And yeah, pretty much that's it. That's how the entire game works in a nutshell. It's not, of course, everything. I can't explain everything I made because that would make this video like I wanted to make it like 30 minutes. So yeah, that's how the entire game was made. I hope you enjoyed the menu is just a very basic text-based user interface system. It basically, in fact, it took me like 5 minutes to make it. If I'm being honest. Like, let me see. If I go to where the actual menu is, here it is. So as you can see, when I enable everything, see this is just the text-based menu I was talking about. So each and every text has like a clicker, and when you as like a listener. Basically, a listener is what listens for click. So when you click on things, when you click on text, it just takes you to that specific menu. And the background is just it's actually capture from like that night. It's a mixture between the Zero Dark 30 movie and the capture from the movie. So yeah, otherwise I hope you guys have been good. Hopefully the game can win the game jam. And yeah, that's it for now. Well, I'll have a few projects coming up, a few things that I'd want to share with you guys. Very interesting. And I think I'll be also doing more videos like this. I've actually quite enjoyed this. So yeah, I just want to leave you with a quote. And yeah, in life is almost like a simulation or a video game. So basically, it's up to you to decide. Like the same way I'm a developer, it's up to you to decide what the storyline of your life is. Don't know if that sounded cringe. But yeah, um, others have been good. Uh, if I sound like I'm repeating myself, aren't I? But yeah, take care, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Will probably be like an animated part of my animated series. So I don't know what story I'll cover, but I've got some stories that I have to tell. Very interesting, but yeah, we'll see. Anyway, take care.